Hello and welcome back to Casual Gastronomy.
Today we're making Tteokguk, which is a Korean rice cake soup, which is made with a beef broth or sometimes an anchovy broth with rice cakes and then topped with garnishes like egg, beef, and nori. And it is tradition to eat this on New Year's Day because it is said to bring good luck for the upcoming year.
This dish is going to be pretty simple, and I don't think it's going to take a very long time to make, which I'm very excited about. I love simple dishes, and I think that this dish could be a lot of fun if you make it for New Year's Eve. It'll be something new that probably a lot of you haven't tried before, and you can share it with a small gathering of family and friends. So don't forget that if we reach 250 subscribers by the end of the year, which is Friday, we will go to any restaurant in Chicago that you ask us to go to. We have reached 150 subscribers, which I'm super grateful for, and it blows my mind, even that small number compared to other channels. I'm amazed that we've reached that in just a couple of years. We only have 100 to go. We might be able to do it somehow. A miracle has to happen, but it's gonna happen. So don't forget to hit that like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos. Let's get started. We're going to begin by making the beef broth. First, soak a half pound of beef brisket in cold water for about 15 minutes to remove any excess blood. Then, in a large pot, bring the brisket, 1 chopped onion, the bottoms of 4 scallions, 6 cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of freshly grated black pepper up to a boil in 10 cups of fresh water. Once the water starts to boil, reduce the heat to medium-low and let it simmer until the meat is tender. This should take about 1 hour. You should end up with about 5 cups of broth. Once the beef broth is ready, remove the meat and discard of the veggies. Then, stir in 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and add salt and pepper to taste. Then, reduce the heat to low.
While the broth is simmering, we can start to prepare the rice cakes and garnishes. Start by soaking 1 pound of rice cakes in cold water for 15 to 20 minutes to soften them. Once they're soft, drain the water and set it aside while you prepare the garnishes. First, we'll start with the egg. Beat 2 large eggs in a bowl and season with salt and pepper. Then pour the egg into a thin layer in a skillet over medium-low heat. Flip after 1 to 2 minutes and let the other side cook for another 2 minutes. Once it is done, remove the egg from the pan and cut them into short, thin strips.
Next, take the beef that we cooked in the broth and cut it or shred it into thin strips. We then seasoned our beef with a little bit of sesame oil, salt, and pepper. Next, set it aside until you're ready to plate.
Now bring the broth back up to a boil. Then add your rice cakes and let them cook for a few minutes. Once the rice cakes float to the top, you'll know that they're ready. Then remove them from the heat and you're ready to plate. To plate, start by ladling the soup into a bowl. Then place a few strips of egg in the middle. Add a layer of the beef brisket on top. Cut strips of roasted nori on top. Then finish with some scallions.
So here we are, we have our Tteokguk. Can you pronounce it for me?
Here we are, we have our Tteokguk.
Yes! This dish, it took a while to boil the beef and the vegetables or aromatics to create the broth, but the actual cooking, so easy and really didn't take up that much time, like actively cooking. But it smells amazing and it looks so cool. Yeah. It's very aesthetically pleasing.
The good thing about the broth is that you can make a really giant batch and then whatever you don't use you can just save for a later date, and then
that is a good point. So we don't want these rice cakes to get soggy. Without further ado, let's give it a taste. Cheers me. That is so good.
The rice cakes are so chewy.
This is legitimately like one of the best things we made, and it was so easy.
Yeah, it was really easy.
I got a bite with beef, egg, rice cake, scallion, and I gotta say, I'm really happy that we put the nori in here. We almost didn't put the nori in because initially Lauren forgot it at home. Thankfully, her older brother,
My older brother.
who doesn't exist, her younger brother, her taller brother, bigger brother who's younger, brought it to us. And I'm so glad he did. Shout out to Ryan. Because it adds so much flavor to the dish. I love the nori flavor mixed with the fresh green scallion tops and that little bit of spice from the black pepper, and then that savory, the soy sauce, salty broth with all the vegetable flavor. There's just a lot of really good flavors and textures going on.
Yeah, everything
here.
just works really well together.
And that little bit of sesame oil.
From the beef.
Game changer. Just adds that roasted sesame aroma to everything. I love it so much.
This is just a perfect dish to eat on New Year's Day when it's usually, at least in Chicago, like -30 degrees.
I disagree. This is a perfect dish to eat all the time.
Every day, I mean. But especially perfect for New Year's Day because of how heartwarming it is.
This is so good. Now, this makes me think, just trying this, kind of these savory flavors with the duck. I'm always afraid I'm gonna pronounce it wrong. I've seen some recipes, some pictures out there, and I really want to try. People make like a mac and cheese, but with duck instead of noodles. So it'd be like gluten-free, and you would get that chewiness from the rice cakes. So stay tuned, we might make something like that in the future.
Maybe.
But in the meantime, you should definitely make this. It's so easy to make, and all your friends will be blown away by your ability to make Korean cuisine expertly.
Just the one thing to note is that if you're not going to use all of the broth or like all of the rice cakes right now, just add what you need to the broth first and then serve that, because once the rice cakes hit the broth, they can get really soggy if you just leave them in there. So,
Nobody likes soggy rice cakes.
pro tip, so
From a professional. Well, that's all we got for you today. We will see you next year, LOL. We're gonna have some fresh new episodes for you. Again, we're so happy that we reached 150 subscribers, and we're looking forward to reaching 250, hopefully by Friday, if not sometime in the first few months of this coming year. We are getting closer and closer to our big goal of 1,000 subscribers. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.